Welcome to the 7Figure Builder channel, everything new construction and development. I'm Arthur the developer, Ruben the builder, and we got Robbie the Wilberforce. Is that what they call you now?
Robbie Wilberforce.
There you go.
Right.
So Robbie is a licensed real estate agent. What's really cool is he went from Florida to Oregon, Washington, where he actually worked with us. We were closing deals together, to now going to Tennessee, where he's doing land deals. So he went from foreclosures in Florida to wholesaling real estate in Oregon and Washington and doing development, new construction deals, to now doing deals in Tennessee. So we'd love to just hear the story. Robbie, I don't know, Ruben, if you have anything to say as well, but Robbie, super cool. Love your heart, love what you do, but also love your story and where you are today. So
yeah, I think what's most important to understand is in our space of real estate, there are unfortunately so many bad realtors.
True.
Yeah.
And you can easily go and get your real estate license, get certified to sell homes, but that doesn't make you put you anywhere on the map of being an agent. And I think that I've seen the best real estate agents actually put in work, training, and just life experience to even understand what a deal is and to be able to bring it to people. And they've gone through different phases of life. Like even today, we talked a lot about foreclosures and how we can absolutely help the homeowner, number one, but then also do ethical business and make money, because obviously we all have bills to pay.
Right.
And so I think just to start it off, I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and maybe how did you first start out in real estate? Where did you come from before real estate? And just give us an elevator pitch, and then maybe we can just kind of crack open the story and just ask you some good questions.
Ruben still got the iPad pen from underwriting deals. I like that. I like that.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so I got my real estate license in 2019 while I was working a project management job. Didn't want to go full-time into real estate because my wife stays home with our kids. And I was like, oh, shoot, I don't know if I can do commission only. So then in 2022, I felt like the Lord spoke to me and said, if you trust me, I will provide the leads. And so
Wow.
About 6 months into my real estate journey, I started work with my Florida team, my brother-in-law, and he had an investor down there, started door knocking foreclosures. And I just found that it was a perfect opportunity to share the heart of Jesus with people that are in a distressed situation, like we talked about, going through either financial struggles, marital issues, death in the family, and it just opened a whole new world of real estate to me where I can actually serve people in their time of need.
Cool. So I'm
That's
curious,
awesome.
real quick, to chime in on that. You said you were a project manager. Was it for real estate, for a real estate related company?
I worked for Paul Davis Restoration
Okay.
for a total of about 6 years, and
Wow.
then I worked for a pharmacy technology company as a project manager.
So that's really interesting because a lot of, on 7Figure, there's people working 9 to 5s, building a home, then eventually transitioning, if they like the real estate game that much, into maybe building or wholesaling or being an agent that finds good deals for investors. How was the transition from 6 years project managing to commission only real estate agent and learning something new? And did you have a period where you had some cash, or did you do real estate on the side until you got to that period of being a full-time agent, or did you just jump the gun and say, I'm going all in? What's up, guys? Everybody keeps asking my comments, my DMs. I need help. I want to get in the game. Our team and I will help you out. Just shoot us a text message, 360-216-0323. We're going to answer every question you have: development, construction, wholesale, anything that you need. 360-216-0323. Let's get back to the video.
No, it was a step of faith. It was
Wow.
I love
just
it.
a word from the Lord, and it was right after our second child was born, and had some money in the bank, but I didn't have much of a cushion. And
Wow.
the Lord has provided. Right when I needed a deal, the Lord would provide. And
So I think it's important to highlight that there is no perfect time.
no,
There is no perfect time. There is no such thing as setting up the most perfect plan.
Yeah.
For you, it was just like, what, I'm going to trust the process and I'm going to jump in and go
That's right.
for it.
Yeah.
And how would you say that has rewarded you? Like, what was one of the earliest wins that you had, in that process that felt like it was like, oh, it's getting reinforced?
It would probably be, I think it's one of the deals that I told you about where I was cold calling foreclosure leads in Florida, and I was traveling down there and door knocking, but I reached out to a guy on WhatsApp, And I had to build trust with a guy that moved from Florida to London and was out of country, couldn't talk to him, couldn't meet with him face to face. So I was literally trying to help this guy via text. Never talked to him once. He thought from his real estate agent that wasn't well versed in foreclosures that he had lost his house already. I had to convince him, educate him on the foreclosure process, built trust through a text message thread, and ended up helping an investor make over, I think, like $185,000 profit on
Wow. Explain that moment to me, because I feel like everybody has this moment, this aha, like you're over here jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
Like, don't have enough savings, 2 kids, freaking out, and then all of a sudden you're texting a guy on WhatsApp and somebody made 185 grand.
Yeah.
Like,
and I made $25K on the deal.
Dude.
That's life changing, because that's several months of salary from
9 to 5,
How much work would you say that it took to get that deal?
With the Florida foreclosures, I was probably working I went down there for a 2-week period, and this was 2 days.
So you were living elsewhere, you traveled to Florida.
Down there. Yep. Put all in. I went all in, and I was cold calling, and I told my brother-in-law, I'm gonna get a deal this week before I leave. I'm getting a deal, and
it happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
words
where
have
there's
power.
a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a
and
way.
also just having faith in the Lord that He's going to provide. If He spoke that word, I will provide the leads.
You did it. So what would you say? You said you were cold calling, and then you would door knock some of these. You can't door knock a guy that's in London, but you also would do cold outreach like texting, WhatsApp.
Yep.
What would be the biggest skill that you learned while being in Florida before transitioning to the West Coast?
The biggest lesson is you can't don't expect the big deal to just fall in your lap. You have to go out and get it. There are fish in the pond, but sometimes real estate, all those cold calls, you're casting the line, and then sometimes you just don't know.
Find the right spot.
You don't know when that deal's going to come, but you just have to keep pressing.
So consistency and persistence.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. So,
Cool.
So would you say out of a highlight, consistency?
Consistency, not getting weary or discouraged if you knock 20 doors and get 20 rejections, because the yes is on the other side of that last no.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Let's talk about that. How many, in your worst seasons of rejection, how did you motivate yourself to keep pushing?
Yeah.
And
maybe you didn't. You can be honest here. We're always transparent.
Just
but you made it through.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like that carried a little bit of weight.
Oh, for sure. Honestly, my wife was very supportive of this decision. She was on the same page because, she's staying home. I'm the only one bringing in income. And she was always encouraging me, the Lord spoke to you, this is from God. This is what you're supposed to do. Don't give up. Don't even think about going back to a 9 to 5. Just keep pushing and, have faith. And so she would instill encouragement into me, and then just being around other people that are successful, that are doing it, and then remembering, thinking back to the deals where the Lord provided, like that one we just talked about. I'll never forget that deal.
Yeah.
Where it was just I went and door knocked. The house was perfectly clean inside. I knew if I could just get in contact with this guy, we could put this house on the market and sell it without touching it. And that's what we did.
So you saw it physically, then you reached out to him.
Yeah.
Dude's in London. You close a deal. You get 25. They make 185, and he was happy because he thought he lost the house.
He got $50,000 wired to him.
That's cool. So Florida, you learned that.
Wow, he thought he lost it.
Yeah.
Oh
he thought
my
he was
gosh.
out.
$50,000.
So
the story gets crazier.
Yeah. So that's your Florida. You come to Oregon, Washington, and before you started working with us in the wholesale side, kind of walk me through, where were you? Then you transitioned. We were all together working on because we were doing building, developing. Then we realized we're missing lead flow, and we got into wholesale.
Right.
And you were part of that
Sure.
position where we started doing real wholesale, went really aggressive on that.
Yeah, I never got into real estate to do retail or residential real estate, but when I came back here, I wasn't working with Florida as much, just because the traveling was a little bit much. So I started just cold calling my sphere of influence, got a couple deals under contract, and then the market kind of went down a little bit in 2023. And then we connected because I was doing the foreclosure on your neighbor's house. And then you told me, hey, we're getting ready to launch this company. Do you want part of it? Like, let's try it.
Awesome.
What's the worst that could happen? And made some sweet deals.
The new owners of that place are so sweet.
Yeah.
They bring
So you were door knocking near Ruben's home.
3 doors down.
Knew each other
down.
from the community. Somebody from our church knew you. You were trying to find deals for them.
Yep.
And we're like, dude, let's do this together. Let's do the foreclosure side, wholesale. And then we ended up creating a whole wholesale operation, and we have a whole team. And so you got to be part of that. You were in the beginning. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
And then you felt called to go to Tennessee. We can wrap up with what you're doing in Tennessee, which similar,
Sure.
but different.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally different.
Is there anything that helped with being here in Oregon, Washington, that is translating to the Tennessee side? So somebody that maybe went from door knocking, cold calling to warm leads, but you're hammering 200 dials a day, like you're on the phones, to now come into Tennessee where, I mean, we don't know. We'd love to know, is it more relaxed? Are you just dealing with a few people at a time? What does that look like?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I learned in our season working together is like that you got to have that dog in you when you're cold calling. Like, just hit the numbers, hit the KPIs. This is for anybody out there that's, cold calling or trying to get into wholesaling. Hit your numbers, hit your KPIs, hit your talk time. The deals will come. And so I took that work ethic that I learned through the grind of that, our season together. And then in Tennessee, connected with some guys that are in land sales. So they buy large farms and then they subdivide them. They want to maintain the integrity of the land in Middle Tennessee. They're not like high density developers. And
You're not doing what we do. Squeeze a box in a little city.
No, it's like Ridgefield or the Southwest Washington like 20 years ago. So
Cool.
It's about an hour south of Nashville, Columbia, Tennessee. And yeah, there's just a lot of farmland, and there are people that want to sell, cash out, get money out for inheritance for their kids instead of passing down the land.
Cool.
And so we're helping them liquidate, and then I'm working with some developers that are subdividing
Creating
that.
5-10 acre parcels.
So biggest lesson in the very beginning of real estate was persistence.
Persistence.
Okay.
Yep.
The second biggest lesson in the season of wholesale and finding distressed properties for a profit was
the dog in you.
the dog.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Mean
okay.
hustle.
Consistency.
Grind.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Because oftentimes, it feels like this,
Yes.
but the deals always come.
The deals are coming if you're consistent. Yeah.
So
And how would you say those-
I would always say in that wholesale side, maybe you can agree or disagree. It's not necessarily easy because it's a grind,
No.
but it is simple.
Sure. Yeah.
Simple. Make 200 calls.
Yeah.
Follow the script.
Yeah.
Make 5 offers. Within 30 days, you'll get your 20K deal. Was the 20K worth it? When you get the check, you're like, whew. When you got that 25K check in Florida, you're probably like, whew, that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It was worth
But-
all those no's beforehand or all
Yep.
the rejections, whatever it was. But the other thing I was going to say is when it comes to cold calling, like it's not just putting in the time. You have to sharpen your sales skills. And that's
Okay.
one thing I really had to do over the last year. I've always had good customer service, been able to connect with people like if I get in front of them.
Right.
But when you're doing remote sales, you got to really sharpen your skills, have, good psychology in your sales, and use those skills to get better each week.
Okay.
So phone sales, you have to
sales.
understand sales versus in-person door knocking. If you have a good vibe, you seem like a decent person, it might be easier to close a deal. So when someone's doing virtual wholesaling, you really have to understand, how do I get better at sales? What are the little things that I have to do to be better? Because a person can hear you and not see you.
That's
So
right.
I think gold nugget for specifically wholesaling is it's less about real estate and more about rapport
Relationship.
and relationship.
Yeah.
Because imagine how difficult it is for someone to sell a house to you over the phone.
Over the phone, they're signing a contract to sell their house over the phone without ever meeting you face
So
to
more
face.
than anything, you're saying focus. Obviously, grind and consistency
Yep.
is good, but focus more on relationship building, rapport building. That's what's going to make you most successful in this industry.
Yep,
I could agree with
for
that.
sure.
So I would say a longer conversation on the phone to build the trust will more than likely help make the close easier.
Yeah.
Because if you come off the bat, well, what's your offer? And you say, well, 300K, you just lost it. You say, well, my offer is going to depend on 1, condition of the home, 2, and you just start going through it and building relationship, trying to find common ground. real estate related as much as possible, or motivation related, right? I would say there's two things. There's the real estate aspect of it. There's the motivation aspect of it for you to come up with your offer. Because if somebody says, well, yeah, I mean, I have a few million in the bank, but if you make me an offer, or somebody else that says, well, right now I have 3 more months before I'm in pre-foreclosure and I want to move into a different city or a different state. That's a whole that, your antennas should be going up. Oh, okay, this guy has more motivation. Let's just figure out what he needs for the property so we can come to that common ground. So I think that's really important. Any last thoughts on,
Well, I think last stage though, how did you take all of this into what you're doing in the development side, and how did it apply, and what would you say the highlight is for the development?
Yeah, I think going from customer service and project management to sales to wholesaling and like phone sales, now I feel like a combination of both. When I'm working with sellers that have large farms, I get them on the phone to build rapport with them. I can't just be another person asking to buy their farm, so I got to build that rapport, and then I get a face-to-face meeting.
You do get a face-to-face, okay. So a hybrid model.
Yeah, so the one that I just closed recently was a 2-hour conversation with the husband and wife at their dining table, and after 2 hours,
we close a lot of those too.
How would you say, time-wise, wholesale versus building that rapport relationship, then meeting in person?
Yeah.
Is it? Can you obviously you're going to do less deals.
Sure, less deals.
But is it more worth it?
Yes, they're bigger deals.
They're bigger deals.
Bigger deals, bigger payouts. Yep.
What does that typically look like? Maybe not necessarily the actual payout, but like structure-wise, like for everybody to know. If somebody wanted to follow your journey from the very beginning, I think the biggest thing that everybody needs to understand is there's never a right time.
Right.
Jump in. And go for it.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next thing is grind, persistence, don't give up.
Yep.
And then learn that rapport and relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just kind of trying to summarize.
That's good.
What are the most high level takeaways for somebody that's getting into this space? What do they need to focus on? Now where you're at today, you're doing less deals but bigger deals. What would be the highlight for somebody to be like, this is what I need to do?
More action, less analyzing. Because if you analyze how you're gonna your strategy for going about your business, you'll lose out on time taking action. So I would just say, whether it's door knocking, cold calling, scheduling appointments to meet people face to face, like, take action.
So fail forward.
Yes.
It's okay to make mistakes.
Yep.
Calculated mistakes probably.
Sure.
Is a good way to put it, but the sooner that you get out and do something, then you can actually learn from that.
That's right.
I would say.
Yeah.
And last question before we wrap up is phone sales. Is there actually such thing as a fear of phone sales? Like fear of getting on the phone? Do you think that's real?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So what's a way to overcome that for somebody that wants to get in this space? They know they can do it. They're smart. They know their numbers. They know how to the contract side of things. But for them, just getting on the phones, it just scares them. And I think there's a lot of people with that. What's something that you can give to the people on that?
We used to do this as a team downstairs, is role playing.
Okay.
Role playing, because it gets that those questions, you're on the spot, and even though it's just with your friends or with your team, they ask you questions that throw you off, and then you can work through those. So practice.
So if you don't have someone, just get a script and say, ask me these questions.
Yep.
That's good.
And you practice. Cool. I like that. Because I've heard it many times where it's like someone is so scared to get on the phone. But then you get on the phone and, I mean, at the end of the day, realistically speaking, there's a red button to just end that conversation. If you're that, if it's that bad, you just beep.
You've been on the phone closing deals. You just have to do it. It's like,
right.
Do you want to make calls or do you want to go back to your 9 to 5? It's like, you make the choice.
Okay, so
two types of hard.
The true highlight of that is rock bottom. Choose your hard.
Choose your hard.
All right.
That's right. Choose your hard. It's hard to make the phone sales.
Choose your hard.
But you could have a $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 check, or the hard of, I'm just gonna have to be stuck at a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, right?
But so ultimately, that unknown and that fear of just sitting there and the deals aren't coming. It's hard.
It is hard.
It is hard.
But choose your hard.
That's right. Yeah. Well, then with that, choose your hard. I like that.
Choose your hard. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. Hopefully that was very beneficial and interesting to you. Today's highlight was choose your hard. Whatever you decide to do in your life, make sure to pick the one that is harder because it's more worth it for you.
And as always, like, share, subscribe, and a final thank you to Robbie. You're absolutely awesome. What you've done has been phenomenal and inspiring, not only to us, but I think to you guys as well. So share your comments below. Maybe something else you want to hear from him, and we can do like an episode 2 or something on it.